two former enemies, Ian Paisley and Martin McGuinness, together took charge of Northern Ireland, it made headlines around the world. But the story that wasn't told was that the political transformation was partly the result of decades of work by teachers in Ulster's schools. I'm here in Belfast, where I've been coming for many years, and I've been able to witness at first hand how teachers have been drawn unwittingly into the wider conflict. The worst example occurred at Holy Cross Girls' Primary School in North Belfast in 2001. Troops and police had to protect Catholic families from Protestant parents protesting against them walking past Protestant homes. It stemmed from fear that Protestant territory was being invaded. Bottles, stones, fireworks and even a pipe bomb were thrown. Parents were issued with death threats and were warned of a sniper on the route. Each day, children arrived at school traumatised. Long after the children had returned home, the protest triggered riots.
I will never forget the first morning that they came in through the front door. They were in hysterics. They were screaming, they were crying, and so were their parents as a result of what they had experienced coming up the road. And the road's a very short road.
It wasn't only children and their parents being threatened. The loyalist terror group, the UDA, later declared that teachers were a legitimate target.
I was told by the police to let the staff know that we'd had a death threat. So I rang all the teachers and told them that there was a death threat. And on Monday, when they were coming to school, to be a bit more careful and to come in the back way, and that I would be here early. One teacher said, "What are we going to do? This is terrible, what are we going to do?" I said, "I'm the person who's known now, and if there's going to be somebody killed, I'm sure they'll be thinking it'll be me, I'll be the target." And I said, "Don't worry, I'll stand in front of you." And she said, "Do you think that makes me feel any better?" I think that the worst elements thought that by doing that they would close the school. And when we didn't close and we did come to an arrangement and we did continue to exist, and then these people felt that the next thing to do then is to tell the teachers they're going to get killed, and then they'll close the school. But we didn't close the school, we just kept going. Because in Northern Ireland, if you succumb to what these people do, these threats by these people, then the whole of society falls apart.
Today, things are much calmer at Holy Cross, and the school is re-establishing links with the local Protestant community.
We knew that from the first day this happened, we were on a road of forgiveness and reconciliation. We had to take the first step the first day that this happened. So we always knew that this was going to happen, but we thought it was going to take a long, long time, and it has taken a long time.
Teaching education for mutual understanding is compulsory in Northern Ireland. Here at Holy Cross, it involves instilling values like respect.
What do you think they are? Muslim people. How might we not show respect to these people?
By making fun of their dresses.
Put them away you go. Put you down your ideas.
We wouldn't like the colour of them, maybe. The way they dress. If they came in the art school, we wouldn't like the way they dresses. We make fun of their religion. Yeah, that's good.
But the teachers know the message has to be taken home as well.
When we're doing our values education programme, the children get a little leaflet home and they're asked to discuss the value with their parents.
And this is where we're going to record the good things. How can we show respect?
Remember to be kind to them. Remember to be kind to the kids.
We always teach respect. Respect for other people. Respect for other people's traditions. As the years go on and as the peace process embeds itself in this community, we may be able to more specifically address the issues of the differences between Catholics and Protestants.
Schools have long tried to become part of the solution to Ulster's troubles by studying conflict resolution, their joint cultural heritage, and getting children from both sides of the divide to work together. But it hasn't been easy. This peace wall divides the Protestant community on the other side from the Catholic community on this side. Almost 15 years ago, I reported on something remarkable happening here, where school children from the Protestant school, which you can see behind me, filed through the gate once a fortnight to go and work in the Catholic school on this side for half a day each week. The Protestant school was Beachfield Primary in East Belfast, an area of bitter tension. 3,000 Catholics were surrounded by 43,000 Protestants.
For safety reasons, they went through that gate. They were escorted to their school, or we were escorted into our school. That was the reason we had the gate put in the wall, because we didn't want to have to walk right around the block. We wanted to be able to walk through a gate, a peace gate, into another school. Occasionally you would have had jeers, but no one ever threw a stone at us. I mean, we counted ourselves incredibly lucky.
The school they were walking to was St Matthew's, a Catholic primary in the grounds of a church which had iconic status in the Troubles.
The school, the church, the parochial house and the parochial hall are thought of as the centre of this community and the lifeblood of this community. And so consequently, if ever the area is under threat, this seems to be the first place it's threatened. Some say this is where the modern Troubles began, because the first people were shot dead in this area. But it really is a symbol of Catholicism in East Belfast, a symbol of republicanism in East Belfast. So consequently, we reckon that every family currently in our school would have someone who was affected by the Troubles in some way, either through violence or through imprisonment or through internment. And when we reach the front of the church, this is the actual interface. Our parents don't cross this road at all, because across this road is Protestant East Belfast, so there'd never be a...
This road here running across the front?
Absolutely. And here on the ground we have a symbol of where someone died in defence of the church. I think this was back in the early 70s. And just across the road we have our doctor's surgery, which in times of trouble, in times of sectarian violence, have to run two separate surgeries, one for Catholic people and one for Protestant people. It seems ludicrous in this day and age that would be happening, but that is the reality of the situation.
The Protestant pupils studied all their history and geography with the Catholic pupils, and even worshipped with them and sat in on their religious celebrations.
No other school was doing this. And because we were on the peace line, it was unheard of that a Protestant school would go into a Catholic chapel on the peace line. A lot of the hostility actually came more from adults than it came from children.
They could measure their progress by the rate at which missiles were thrown into the playground from the Catholic side of the wall.
Before all this work started, we would have come in the morning. The playground was littered with debris. You could have had prams, bricks, bins, anything in the playground, and you had to tidy that playground up in the morning. But once all the work started, and it didn't happen overnight, it took quite a few years. At the end, we had a tidy playground every Monday morning.
Catholic and Protestant children who would otherwise never have met were becoming real friends.
I would say about 80% of the friendships became very, very strong. I mean, the tears at the end of term was unbelievable. I mean, the children were crying. The staff were in tears as well. I had twins in my class, twin boys. The boys left me, and both of them, they went to Orangefield Secondary School. And some of the boys in the class had said to them, "Oh, we're going to go down to whatever area it was, and we're going to cause trouble." And these two boys stood up and said, "You can't go to that area. That's where our friends are."
The links between Beachfield and St Matthew's had to be abandoned when the tension over Holy Cross spread to their area.
Beachfield suspended the contact because they felt that the children and the parents were only meeting actually on the interface through violence. And at the time, it disappointed our school horribly. And consequently, we went out and sought other partners. In the past few years, we've picked up new links with Beachfield, and we're very, very happy to do so. For the children in our care, we can change their attitude, their beliefs, and their experiences, because very often up to now, they would never have met a child from the other side of the road. Now they are meeting on a regular basis, and they're realising they haven't got two heads. They sort of eat roughly the same things as ourselves, and do the same types of activities.
How many of us have blue eyes? Let's have a count. Who's going to do my counting?
Me.
Right, Ryan, start off.
You have grey.
Let's see. Oh, he's a lovely blue. And do you think we've all got the same colour blue eyes? So many is there?
The lesson from schools like Holy Cross and Beachfield is that it is hard to make an impact with children unless you tackle the fear and prejudice of adults as well.
They say that schools have about 20% influence on children. Their parents have 80%.
Alrighty.
But this is a long road, and parents are having to come to terms with their own hurts and their own prejudices as well.
And everyone look at me, show me your...
Pupils from Sydenham, a Protestant primary, are visiting St Matthew's with head teacher Jean Cogger.
Well, we're literally a stone's throw from each other, and we're realistic. We know we've got to work with what we've got. But if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. And we know that eventually you turn into your mum. If your mum does something, you're more likely to do it consciously or unconsciously. And so we're really thinking long-term.
The cross-community contact visits are now being made by parents as well as pupils. And they're even tackling sectarian street law head-on, bringing parents together to examine their shared history. They're talking about Bobby Sands, the IRA hunger striker who died in 1981.
When you see a mural of Bobby Sands, what do you think?
I see a young man with a hairstyle in the 70s, 80s, who should have been maybe out enjoying life and look for favourite bands and out having a drink in the pubs or clubs, whatever. That's what I see.
Because, I mean, I suppose it's like everything else, it depends on where you come from and the way you look at it. Bobby Sands is either a martyr and a hero, or else he was a pawn in a game.
If you're from the Avonale community, have you changed your view of Bobby Sands?
Well, I did. Because I didn't know really anything about him. I just seen his picture on the wall and didn't know who he was.
You're raised in one community or the other, and you have a set of preconceptions, you have a lot of baggage, you have what they did to us, you know, and to come into what I call a safe space and be able to air your views and listen to the views of others is a unique thing. It doesn't happen to many of us.
Teachers in Northern Ireland are still pushing back the boundaries, using education to promote peace in ways that could be copied in other conflict countries. And many believe they have helped achieve real change.
If you look at some of the people who are now in Parliament, of the younger generation, they're the ones who took part in it. The young councillors, they all took part in cross-community work. They definitely did. I think it has played a major part in what has happened in Northern Ireland. A lot of the young voters all came through cross-community programmes. It's bound to have affected them.
The kind of future is wide open for the children here. I mean, most of the adults in this society have spent 40 years in trouble with their heads down. And now this is the time, and please God, we're hoping and praying that our new Assembly will be giving us the lead in this. That this is a time for a future new beginning for Northern Ireland, and we want to prepare the children for that by broadening their horizons.